Good day, everyone.
Well,
Today is Sunday, November 24th, 2024. We continue talking on the platform Sutra, the chapter of the doubts. Last time, when we finished, we were saying that from the perspective of detachment and renunciation, it's best for Buddhists to avoid matchmaking as a full-time profession, as it may lead to various complications, particularly for monastics. Engaging in matchmaking can create difficulties. That was ended on November 17, 2024. So we continue. Next is the wrong means. Means here referring to the methods or conveniences. Some may think that practicing the Bodhisattva path means always accommodating others' desires, giving them whatever they want. This sounds reasonable. But if people's desires are driven by greed, hatred, or ignorance, if they are endlessly greedy, vengeful, or lacking wisdom, should we fulfill these wishes, even if they ultimately harm themselves and society? Of course, the answer is we should not do it. Some people think that if they accommodate others in this way, they might convert them to Buddhism. But if someone is committing theft or murder, should you join them in the hopes of converting them? This would be wrong means. So a teacher once met a young woman in the United States who had originally wanted to become a nun. After moving there, she met a Christian man interested in Buddhism. And he told her that if she agreed to marry him, he would attend Buddhist teachings and read Buddhist texts. She thought she could give him, she thought she could guide him toward Buddhism through marriage. So our teacher asked if she was sure of this. And she replied that he had promised to consider converting. Sifu warned her that she might end up converting to Christianity instead. And she assured to Sifu that it won't happen and that she was marrying him only to guide him. And afterward, she visited Sifu with her husband and child. When asked if her husband had converted, she admitted she had been baptized instead because it felt natural within his Christian family. This is an example of wrong means, trying to guide others, but being led astray instead. Then we come to the wrong mindfulness. This refers to thoughts that are connected to harmful intentions, such as thoughts of killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, or intoxication. Thinking only of self-benefit without regard for others is also wrong mindfulness. Then comes wrong concentration. This means entering a meditative state where various experiences arise, but with attachment to these experiences, mistaking them for enlightenment. True concentration is free of attachments. Wrong concentration occurs when one seeks supernatural powers for selfish gain, or sell these powers to others to achieve influence or wealth. If one's concentration is filled with attachment, if there's a sense of self in the meditation or attachment to the visions experienced, it is wrong concentration. Additionally, if meditation is used to gain fame, wealth, or influence in unwholesome ways, this too is wrong concentration, as it results in benefiting oneself or others through improper means. Now, when discussing the Western Pure Land, located 10,000 Buddhist lands away, many people assume it is a very distant place. However, in the Platform Sutra, it states, to say it is far is for those of lower roots. To say it is near is for those of higher wisdom. What does this concept of distance signify? So we have to take a look at what is lower roots and what's the meaning of them. Many misunderstand lower roots as meaning that people with such faculties cannot practice or progress in Buddhism. Some think those with lower roots can only chant Buddha's name and seek rebirth in the Pure Land, while only those with higher wisdom can practice meditation and study Buddhism. People may assume that being illiterate or less educated makes one of lower roots, or they may feel their heavy obstacles in practice mean they are of lower roots, but this is incorrect. In Buddhism, lower roots refer to people who, upon encountering Buddhism, are unwilling to accept, trust, or follow its teaching. Those with lower roots lack a strong foundation in virtuous roots, making it difficult to connect with Buddhism. This may stem from pride or strong feelings of inadequacy, causing them to resist approaching or accepting Buddhism. I'll give an example. My teacher often see this in couples where the husband is very capable and intelligent, while the wife is also quite capable, but desires to learn Buddhism by attending teaching, chanting, or meditating. Out of love, the husband may bring her to the temple, but some husbands won't enter the main hall. They stay outside or just drop her off. Others may step inside but still will stand at the back, watching the wife bow to the Buddha. Now, what happens if the wife bows to the master, the teacher? The husband may frown. Bowing to the Buddha is acceptable to him, but bowing to a monk makes him uncomfortable. This reaction is common, and our teacher said that he's not surprised by it anymore. And so sometimes our teacher asks such husbands, do you feel sorry for your wife? Bring her here to bow to statues and people? The husband might respond, my wife is a simpleton. She needs this, so I bring her here. Such men consider those who bow to the Buddha or attending teaching to be ignorant and superstitious, where they think of themselves as too intelligent to need Buddhism. These husbands are considered to have lower roots, yet they are often highly educated and capable individuals. In contrast, a person with true faith may be less intelligent, but has confidence and willingness to overcome obstacles in practice. They may not necessarily be of lower roots, but could possess higher wisdom. In the Mahaparinirvana Sutra, there is mention of ordinary lower roots and the lowest roots. Those of ordinary lower roots may wish to engage with Buddhism, but have fragile faith, easily swayed, believing today and doubting tomorrow. Such people are not considered of the lowest roots. The lowest roots, or Echantika, those devoid of faith, are completely disinterested in listening to, encountering, or engaging with Buddhism. The Buddha does not teach these individuals, as they lack the inclination to study Buddhism in this lifetime. For such people, the Buddha refrains from giving teachings, as they are not ready to receive them. What about the people of higher wisdoms? Those with the highest wisdom are able to understand deeply from minimal guidance. Hearing one thing, they understand 10. From one example, they infer many others. Upon hearing a single teaching or instruction, they can immediately transform ignorance into understanding and transcend the ordinary to reach enlightenment. Such individuals possess higher wisdom. Most of us are likely somewhere between average or above average in understanding. True higher wisdom is rare. However, it is also not the lowest level. In Buddhism, we categorize individuals into 3 levels. Within each primary group, referring to upper, middle, and lower. Lowest of the low, middle of the low, highest of the low. So that's one. And then lowest of the middle, middle of the middle, highest of the middle. And lowest of the high, middle of the high, highest of the high. So primarily upper, middle, and lower. And each of this group, the primary group, has 3 levels. That's what it is. Those in the topmost categories are truly rare, while those in the lowest categories are generally uninterested in Buddhism. People who fall in the middle or upper levels of each category are more receptive to Buddhist teachings. So, what do you think of your levels? And then the saying of people vary, but the Dharma does not. Well, it is to understand where the Pure Land is. So people of higher wisdom, the Pure Land feels closed. As it is said in the Amitabha Sutra, that the land of ultimate bliss lies 10 billion Buddha lands to the west. But is this truly so far? For those with higher wisdom, it appears as if it's right before them. For those with lower roots, it seems infinitely distant, as they may even think about the Western Pure Land, making it feel out of reach. Thus, even if the Pure Land were next door, it would feel far away if one has no desire to reach it. Conversely, having the intention to go makes it feel near. And this is why it is said, people vary, but the Dharma does not. There are individuals of higher wisdom and lower roots, but the teaching of Buddhism remains the same. The perception of the Dharma changes depending on each person's capacity and understanding. So the same teachings yield different reactions for different people. especially in Chan Buddhism. So, among various schools of Chinese Buddhism, Chan Buddhism often emphasizes dual practice of meditation and Pure Land. To explore this further, what was the sixth patriarch Hui Neng's view on the Pure Land? So the Platform Sutra states, ignorance and enlightenment are different. Some see quickly, others slowly. The ignorant chant Buddha's name, seeking rebirth there. The enlightened purify their mind. Therefore, the Buddha said, when the mind is pure, the land is pure. This illustrates Hui Neng's perspective on Pure Land. Now, in this context, ignorance referring to those who have not awakened, people who burdened by inner afflictions, delusions, and strong attachment to self. When wisdom arises, afflictions are cut off, and self-centeredness fades. This is enlightenment. Before enlightenment, Pure Land seems distant, but once awakened, one realizes that the Pure Land is, in fact, inseparable from oneself. Many people misunderstand the concepts of ignorance and enlightenment. They think that enlightenment means possessing supernatural power, extraordinary intelligence, or the ability to know everything without learning. This is a misconception. True enlightenment is not like that. Similarly, ignorance should not be equated with a lack of education, knowledge, or broad experience. From the perspective of Chan practice, ignorance is categorized by self-protection, suspicion of others, and the pursuit of self-interest. People who feel insecure are likely to be suspicious, and those who are suspicious tend to lack a sense of security. Then asking, how can one attain a sense of security? Well, this is not easy to achieve. Ordinarily, people seek security through three things: owning property, having influence or power, and gaining a good reputation or status. But do these things actually bring us security? Well, the more we have, the less secure we feel. A person with few possessions has a smaller sense of self. So the chance of harm is also reduced. But when wealth, status, and power increases, people find themselves less free, needing more defenses and safeguards. I know of a doctor. He is quite a successful one, and he become quite rich. And then in his house, well, you could say that almost like a mansion, he has installed all the security cameras around every corners of his house. When asked why, then he was just saying that it is for protection. So that means what? That means once one of the alarm went off, then he feels that, oh, something's wrong. He feels very insecure in this way. That's what happens. So if we are alone by ourselves, then no one wants to get married, and then we making two people, and later had two children, making four. So when one is alone, one house was enough. But then we have to worry about the wife's safety and his children's well-being. And then what happened if the eldest child went off to college far from home? Then add to one's worries. And the feeling of insecurity was growing stronger, especially with the son being away. So if he comes to for advice about his business and things like that, and our teacher would tell him that if you want to do it, then do it. If you don't, let it go. So he will reply, Master, it's not that simple. Let it go isn't easy. And doing it isn't easy either. We have another example. In Taiwan, we had a devotee who runs a hospital. He lived frugally his whole life, working very hard to establish it. And this hospital is his life's work, his legacy, and a source of emotional support for him. However, now this person is older, and his children have not studied medicine and don't wish to take over. He wants to retire, but he can't seem to find a way to do so. So this person came and asked our teacher, Master, what should I do to retire? Our teacher said, it's simple, just stop running it. And he said, Master, if I stop, what will happen to the hospital? And our teacher said, then sell it. And he asked, who should I sell it to? And Sifu said, sell it to anyone who wants it. So he replied, they are interested buyers, but the price is not right. And then Sifu responded in this way, then what do you need the money for? You could just give it away. And he replied, Master, it's not that simple. Giving it away isn't as easy as it sounds. So our teacher told him, then take it one day at a time. And he said, that feels like an eternity. These days are hard to endure. Well, this hospital has been running for many years with many staff members. So selling it or closing it is not so simple. If he sells it, he will have to negotiate terms such as whether the buyer will retain the current employees. There are many complications. So our teacher, Sifu said, told him that, then just pray to Guan Yin Bodhisattva. Being a doctor is something many people may aspire to. And owning a hospital is even more ideal. However, it has now become a burden for him. All of this revolves around the feeling of insecurity, which is truly hard to achieve. So when we have nothing, we feel insecure. When we start a family or accumulate wealth, our sense of insecurity, our sense of security doesn't necessarily decrease. It often increases. When you have more money, threats to your money emerge. Thus, both your physical body and possessions become sources of insecurity. And this constant circling around self-preservation, and attachment to personal value is called ignorance, as it centers on self and clings to ego. Now talking about enlightenment. Enlightenment means letting go of the self, releasing attachment to one's body, life, and possessions. But does letting go mean giving up everything? Well, letting go of attachment to the body doesn't mean abandoning the body. One should still take care of it. However, if the body becomes ill or encounters problems, there's no need to worry excessively. If issues arise, handle them as needed. If they require medical treatment, seek it. If it requires medication, take it. But don't let fear or worry about the body dominate your mind. When someone becomes ill, they may find a treatment that works immediately, while others may see several doctors and take numerous medications to no avail. The same medicine may work for some, but not for others. So what should our attitude be as Buddhists, or the attitude of enlightenment? Well, if we are sick, we see a doctor, take medicine, and do what's necessary. If we recover, we are grateful. If we don't, even if the illness lasts for years or a lifetime, there's no need for distress or frustration. The attitude is that illness and suffering are experiences to be endured. If a cure is possible, great. If not, that's okay too. So this principle extends beyond oneself to all external things, including children, spouses, parents, company employees, and everyone connected to us, as well as material possessions like money, property, stocks, and jewelry. For an enlightened person, there's no desire to discard everything or insist on keeping anything. If they have it, they accept it. If they don't, it's not a problem. Now, again, story was told by our teacher. He said once a local court chief judge came to see him, accompanied by 2 other judges. Now, this happened in Taiwan. He asked for guidance, saying, "Master, can you give us some words of advice on how we should act in the future?" So our teacher told them, "Just do what you can." And the judge said, "No, what would be the best approach?" And our Sifu said, "According to Buddhist principles, if the circumstances allow us to do something and it's necessary, then we should do it wholeheartedly. If the circumstances don't permit it, then even if it is something that should ideally be done, there's no need to force it. If the situation demands it and you are capable, do your best. But if your ability or circumstances fall short, put it aside for now." And our teacher concluded with 2 lines. "There's nothing you absolutely must do, nor is there anything you absolutely must avoid. Do whatever benefits others without adding pressure to yourself." Okay, so I will stop here for this moment.
Bảo,